Han wiped the sweat from his brow as he tightened the last bolt on the water pipe. The air in the Undercity was hot and damp. It smelled of rust and mold. He had been working for 12 hours straight, fixing leaks and broken circuits. His hands were rough and calloused. His blue work uniform was stained with grease. Just one more job, he told himself, checking the tablet that showed his daily tasks. Han had never seen the real sky. Not once in his 26 years. He had only seen pictures of it on the old screens that lined the Undercity markets. The world above was for the rich and powerful. People like him stayed below, keeping the machines running so those above could live in comfort. As he packed his tools, the ground shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Han looked up. Far above, through layers of metal and concrete, the arena matches were starting. The rich were watching their giant fighting machines battle while drinking expensive drinks. Han's tiny room was on level 8, just big enough for a bed and a small cooking area. On the wall, he had pinned an old poster of the arena. It showed a massive battle mech, its metal arms raised in victory. Han dreamed of seeing a real match someday, but a single ticket cost more than he made in 3 months. He turned on his old view screen. The arena channel was free. The corporations wanted even the poorest to see their power. Han watched as the camera showed the crowds, the bright lights, and then the fighters entering. And now, the announcer's voice boomed, "Welcome our champion." The pilot with ice in her veins and fire in her heart. Gina Kim. The crowd roared as a sleek, silver mech stepped into the arena. Unlike the bulky machines of other corporations, Gina's mech moved with grace. It was shaped like a mix of animals, the body of a big cat, the horns of a bull, and arms that ended in sharp claws. A chimera of steel. The camera zoomed in on Gina's face inside the cockpit. She was young, maybe Han's age, with sharp eyes and a face that showed no emotion. Her pilot's suit was white with blue lines that glowed in the dark cockpit. She did not smile or wave to the crowd. She sat still, her hands moving over the controls with practiced ease. Gina Kim remains undefeated this season. The announcer continued. The Ice Queen of Kim Conglomerate has destroyed all challengers. Today, she faces Taiyang Corporation's newest pilot. Will he be the one to finally defeat her? Han leaned closer to the screen. Something about Gina fascinated him. While other pilots played to the crowd, she treated the fights like a job. Cold, efficient, like a machine herself. The fight began. The other mech charged, firing weapons that lit up the arena. Gina's chimera dodged with impossible speed. It moved like a dancer, each step planned and perfect. Han could almost feel the skill in her hands guiding the massive machine. When Gina struck back, it was with terrible precision. The chimera's claws tore through the enemy mech's armor. Sparks flew. Metal screamed. In less than 2 minutes, her opponent lay broken on the arena floor. Victory to Kim Conglomerate. The announcer shouted as the crowd went wild. Gina's face appeared on screen again. Still no smile. No celebration. She simply removed her helmet, her black hair falling to her shoulders, and nodded once to the camera. Han turned off the view screen. He had to be up early tomorrow for another long shift. As he laid down on his thin mattress, he thought about the two worlds. Gina's world of light, power, and machines that danced, and his world of darkness, endless work, and machines that broke. They would never meet. The gap between their worlds was too wide, or so Han thought, until the next day when everything changed. As he slept, deep in the maintenance tunnels below his room, something was moving. Something that wasn't supposed to be there. Something that had escaped from above. A broken thing made of metal and wires that dragged itself forward, leaving a trail of glowing blue fluid behind it. It moved with purpose, as if looking for something. Or someone. Han's alarm woke him at 5:00 a.m. Another day, another list of repairs. He pulled on his work boots and grabbed a quick meal of instant noodles before heading out. Today he had to fix the ventilation system in Tunnel 12. It was one of the oldest tunnels, rarely used except by maintenance workers like him. As he walked through the dim corridors, his flashlight cut through the darkness. A sound stopped him, a scraping noise, like metal dragging on concrete. Han froze. Rats were common in the Undercity, but they didn't sound like that. "Hello," he called out. "Anyone there?" The scraping stopped. Then came a soft, whirring sound. Han pointed his flashlight down the tunnel. Two eyes glowed back at him. Not rat eyes, not human eyes. These were blue circles of light, set in a metal face. Han's first thought was to run. Everyone knew about the security drones that patrolled the upper levels. If one had come down here, it meant trouble. But something wasn't right. This machine wasn't floating smoothly like the drones did. It was dragging itself along the ground. Han took a careful step forward. The machine tried to back away but stumbled. That's when Han saw the damage. One of its legs was almost torn off. Blue fluid, coolant, probably, leaked onto the ground. The machine was hurt, if a machine could be hurt. "Easy now," Han said softly, the way he might talk to a scared animal. "I won't hurt you." The machine tilted its head, almost like it was listening. It had 4 legs, or what should have been 4 legs. Its body was sleek and black, about the size of a large dog. But this was no pet robot. Han could see weapons built into its sides, now powered down. A combat unit, military grade, worth more than Han would earn in 10 years. "You're a long way from home, aren't you?" Han whispered. The machine made a soft chirping sound. Han had never heard a combat unit make a noise like that. They were supposed to be silent killers. Han knew he should report this. Combat units belonged to the corporations. Touching one was a crime. But as he looked at the damaged machine, he thought of all the broken things he had fixed over the years. This was just another machine that needed repair. "Come on," he said, patting his leg like he was calling a dog. "Let's get you fixed up." To his surprise, the machine understood. It limped toward him, still dripping blue coolant. Meanwhile, in the upper city, Jaina sat in her father's office. The walls were made of real glass. Looking out over the city, sunlight streamed in. Real sunlight, not the artificial lights of the Undercity. "The prototype is missing," Chairman Kim said. He did not look at his daughter. He stared at the city below. 3 days now. Jaina sat perfectly straight in her chair. How could a combat unit just disappear? "Father, that's what I want to know." He turned to face her. Chairman Kim was a tall man with gray hair and cold eyes. Jaina had his eyes. "This is your division's project, your responsibility." Jaina knew better than to make excuses. "I'll find it." "You will. And when you do, you will destroy it." Jaina raised an eyebrow. "Destroy it?" "The R&D cost alone." The prototype rejected its neural interface. It developed irregularities. "It's dangerous." "Dangerous how?" Jaina asked. Her father's face hardened. "It's thinking for itself." Jaina hid her surprise. A combat unit with independent thought. That wasn't supposed to be possible. "I want search teams in the Undercity," her father continued. "Offer a reward." Someone must have seen it. Jaina nodded and stood to leave. "And Jaina," her father called after her. "When you find it, destroy it immediately. Don't bring it back for study. Some technologies are better left undeveloped." As Jaina walked to her private elevator, she wondered why her father seemed afraid. He had built his empire on being fearless. What could a broken machine do that frightened him so much? Back in his small room, Han examined his new companion. The damage was bad but fixable. The combat unit lay still as Han carefully repaired its leg using parts he had borrowed from work. "You need a name," Han said as he worked. The machine watched him with those glowing blue eyes. "How about Dole? It means stone in Old Korean. Because you're tough, right?" The machine, Dole, made that strange chirping sound again, almost like it approved. As Han finished the repair, he wondered who had made Dole and why it had run away. One thing was clear: someone would be looking for it, and they wouldn't be happy to find it in the hands of an undercity mechanic. 3 days had passed since Han found Dole. The combat unit was learning fast. It now followed Han around his small room like a pet. Han had covered its weapons with old cloth to make it look less dangerous. A knock on the door made Han jump. He quickly threw a blanket over Dole. "Hide," he whispered. Dole understood and slid under the bed. Han opened the door to find Suji, his friend and fellow maintenance worker. She was short with a round face and quick eyes that missed nothing. "I brought food," she said, holding up a bag. "Real chicken. My cousin got it from." She stopped, sniffing the air. "What's that smell?" "Like machine oil." "Just work stuff," Han said too quickly. "Been fixing some parts at home." Suji walked in, looking around the small room. "You never bring work home." She put the food down on Han's small table. "And that's not regular machine oil. That's high-grade coolant." Before Han could stop her, Suji knelt down and lifted the blanket edge. She gasped. "Han, that's a combat unit." She backed away. "Do you know what they'll do to you if they find it here?" "His name is Dole," Han said. "And he's hurt. Someone damaged him." "It's a machine," Suji hissed. "It doesn't have a name." As if to prove her wrong, Dole crawled out from under the bed. It looked at Suji and made a gentle chirping sound. Suji's eyes widened. "It sounds like, but that's not possible." "He's different," Han said. "I think he can think for himself. Someone made him special." Suji sat down heavily on the only chair. "Han, there's news on the feeds. Kim Conglomerate is offering a huge reward for a missing prototype. 5 years' worth of wages." She looked at Dole. "This has to be it." Han felt his heart sink. "You're going to report us?" Suji was quiet for a long moment. Then she sighed. "No, but you're going to owe me big time." She pulled out her tablet. "Let me see what I can find out about this model." The next day, Han was sent to fix an air filter in mid-level 23. This was higher than he usually worked, closer to the upper city. The air was cleaner here, the lights brighter. As he finished the repair, an alarm sounded. Security doors began closing. Han grabbed his tools and ran for the exit, but it was too late. The doors sealed with a hiss. "System lockdown," a calm voice announced. "Please remain where you are." Han looked around nervously. Mid-level lockdowns usually meant a VIP was passing through. Workers like him were supposed to stay out of sight. Then he heard the voices approaching. "This is unacceptable. I have a meeting in 20 minutes. The voice was female, cold and sharp. "I apologize, Ms. Kim. The transport system is experiencing technical difficulties. We've called for repair." Han's breath caught. Kim. Could it be? Around the corner came a woman in a white suit, followed by 2 men in black uniforms. Han recognized her immediately. Gina Kim, the Ice Queen of the arena. In person, she was smaller than he expected. Her face was pale and perfect, her black hair pulled back tightly. She looked annoyed. "You there," she said, noticing Han. "Worker, how long until the system is fixed?" Han swallowed hard. I'm not transport crew. I'm just here for the air filters." Gina frowned. Then something exploded. The blast knocked them all off their feet. Smoke filled the corridor. Through the haze, Han saw armed figures in masks running toward them. "Protect Ms. Kim," one of the guards shouted before a shot took him down. The second guard pulled Gina up behind a column and drew his weapon, but another explosion sent him flying. Han should have run. This wasn't his fight. But without thinking, he grabbed Gina's arm and pulled her toward a maintenance door. "This way," he shouted, punching in his access code. The door slid open, revealing a narrow service tunnel. Gina hesitated only a second before following him in. Han sealed the door behind them just as bullets hit the metal. "Who are they?" Han asked, as they ran through the dim tunnel. "Rivals," Gina said, her voice steady despite everything. "They've been trying to kill me for months." Han led her through the maze of tunnels he knew so well. After 10 minutes of running, they reached another door. "This will take you to security level 20, Han said, entering a code. "They'll help you there." The door opened. Gina stepped through, then turned back to look at Han. For a moment, her cold mask slipped. "What's your name?" she asked. "Han. Just Han." She nodded once. "Thank you, just Han." Then she was gone, the door closing between their worlds once more. But Han knew something had changed. She had seen his face, and he had touched the untouchable Ice Queen. As alarms continued to blare, Han slipped away through the tunnels, unaware that a security camera had captured everything. "Play it again," Gina said. The security officer nodded and restarted the video. On the screen, Gina watched herself being pulled to safety by the maintenance worker named Han. The quality was poor, but she could see his face clearly enough. Plain, honest, determined. "Find him," she said. "Bring him to me." Quietly. The officer nodded again and left. Gina turned to look out the window of her private office. Far below, the Undercity sprawled like a dark sea. Somewhere down there was the man who had saved her life, and perhaps the missing prototype as well. Her tablet chimed. A message from her father. "Progress report required." Gina sighed. 3 days of searching, and still no sign of the prototype. The reward offer had brought hundreds of false leads. People desperate for money would say anything. She typed a quick reply. "Search continuing. Will report when successful." Han couldn't sleep. Every noise made him jump. He kept thinking about Gina Kim and the way she had looked at him, like she was memorizing his face. Dol sensed his worry. The combat unit stayed close, making soft sounds that almost seemed comforting. "We'll be okay," Han told Dol, not believing it himself. In the morning, Sujai arrived, looking worried. "They're searching for you," she said without greeting. "Kim Conglomerate Security has your work ID and face. They're asking questions." Han felt cold fear grip his stomach. Because of the attack. Maybe. Or maybe they know about him. Suji pointed at Dol. "You need to hide. Both of you." Han looked around his small room, the only home he'd ever known. "Where would we go?" Suji pulled out a small key. "My brother has a storage room in level 5. It's not much, but it's off the grid. No ID checks." Han quickly packed a bag with food and tools. He wrapped Dol in an old tarp, making the combat unit look like maintenance equipment. As they prepared to leave, the door burst open. 2 men in black uniforms stood there. Kim Conglomerate Security. "Han Lee," one asked. "You need to come with us." Han stepped back. Suji moved between them. "He's done nothing wrong." The security men ignored her. "Miss Kim wants to speak with you. Now." Han's mind raced. Did they know about Dol? The combat unit was hidden under the tarp in the corner. If they searched the room. "Okay," Han said quickly. "I'll come. Just let me grab my jacket." The men nodded. Han picked up his jacket, which lay over the tarp. He gave the slightest tap on the hidden Dol, their secret signal for stay. "Let's go," he said to the men. They led him to a sleek transport pod, the kind that usually only carried upper city people. Inside it was clean and smelled like fresh air. The pod rose quickly, leaving the undercity behind. Han had never been so high. Through the pod's windows, he saw the true scale of the city for the first time. The undercity was massive, but the upper city stretched even higher, gleaming towers reaching toward a sky that was actually blue. Real sunlight made him squint. The pod stopped at a tall silver building. The men led Han through guarded doors, up an elevator, and into a large office. Floor-to-ceiling windows showed the whole city. Han could even see the great arena in the distance. "Wait here," one of the men said, and they left, locking the door behind them. Han stood alone in the huge room, feeling small and dirty in his work clothes. Pictures on the wall showed Gina in her mech, winning battles. Awards and trophies lined glass shelves. "You're braver than you look," a cool voice said. Han turned. Gina Kim stood in a doorway, watching him. She wore a simple white suit that probably cost more than Han earned in a year. Her eyes were sharp, studying him. "Most people from the Undercity would never have helped me," she continued, walking closer. "They hate what my family represents." Han shrugged. "I didn't think about it. You needed help." Gina circled him slowly. "Simple as that. Just helping someone in danger." "Yes," Han said. "Simple as that." Gina stopped in front of him. For a long moment, she just looked at him. Then she smiled, a small, tight smile that didn't reach her eyes. "I've been looking for something that belongs to me," she said. "Something important that went missing in the Undercity. I think you might be able to help me find it." Han kept his face still, thinking of Dol hiding in his room. What would happen if Gina found him? What would happen to Dol? "What is it?" Han asked, his mouth dry. "What are you looking for?" Gina walked to her desk and picked up a tablet. She showed Han a rotating image of a black combat unit. It was Dol, but without the damage that Han had repaired. "This prototype is worth more than you can imagine," Gina said. "It went missing from our labs. My father believes it's in the Undercity." Han kept his face blank. "There are millions of people in the Undercity. How would I find it?" "You know the tunnels better than our security teams. You could go places they can't." Gina put down the tablet. "I'm offering you a job, Han. Find this prototype, and I'll pay you enough to live up here. A real apartment, clean air, real food." It was everything Han had dreamed of. A way out of the Undercity. But it would mean giving up Dol. "Why is it so important?" Han asked. "It's just a machine." Gina's eyes narrowed slightly. "That's not your concern." "It is if I'm going to look for it," Han said. "What makes it different from other combat units?" Gina was quiet for a moment. She seemed to be deciding something. Then she walked to a wall and pressed her hand against it. A hidden door opened. "Come with me," she said. Han followed her through the door and down a corridor. They entered a large white room filled with computers and medical equipment. In the center was something that looked like a pilot's chair, but with wires and tubes connected to it. "This is where we develop the neural interfaces for our mechs," Gina explained. "The technology that lets me control my CHIMERA in the arena." She touched a screen, and images appeared in the air. Brain scans, neural patterns. "The prototype has a new kind of interface," she continued. "One that learns and adapts. But something went wrong. It rejected programming and developed independence." Han tried not to show his reaction. This explained why Dol seemed so different, so alive. "Where did you get the neural patterns?" he asked. "For the interface." Gina tapped the screen again. A file appeared with a list of names and numbers. Test subjects. Volunteers. Han scanned the list. Then he saw it, his own name. Handley, age 8, Undercity Orphanage Section 12. I was a test subject," he whispered. Gina looked surprised. "You? Let me see." She examined the file. "Yes, you were part of the early programs. Children's brains are more adaptable." Han felt dizzy. "I don't remember this." "The memories were suppressed," Gina said matter-of-factly. "Standard procedure." Han thought of Dol, how the combat unit had found him in the tunnels, how it seemed to understand him. Now it made sense. Dol shared his neural patterns. In a way, they shared the same mind. "My father wants the prototype destroyed," Gina said. "He thinks it's dangerous. A machine that can think for itself could turn against us." "And what do you think?" Han asked. Gina's cold mask slipped again. For just a moment, she looked uncertain. I think I want to understand it first," she said quietly, "before we destroy it. Before Han could respond, an alarm sounded. Gina checked her tablet. "Security breach in the Undercity," she said. "Level 8, Section 23. Han's heart stopped. That was his home section. Gina looked at him sharply. "You know something." It wasn't a question. Han started backing away. "I need to go," he said. "You're not going anywhere," Gina replied, pressing a button on her tablet. Security doors began closing. Han thought quickly. "Your prototype isn't dangerous. It's scared. That's why it ran away." Gina paused. "How would you know that?" "Because it found me," Han admitted. "It came to me because of the neural connection. It recognized something in me." Gina's eyes widened. "You've seen it? Where is it?" Before Han could answer, the tablet in Gina's hand beeped again. She looked down at it, and her face went pale. "They found it," she whispered, "but it's not mine." The screen showed security forces surrounding Han's home, but they weren't Kim conglomerate forces. They wore the orange uniforms of a rival corporation, Taeyang. "They're taking it," Gina said. Then she looked at Han with new understanding. "You've been hiding it all this time." Han didn't deny it. "His name is Dole, and you can't let them take him." "Dole," Gina repeated. "You named it." "He's not just a machine," Han insisted. "He thinks. He feels." Gina looked at the security feed again. The Taeyang forces were loading something wrapped in tarps onto a transport. Suji was there, being held back by guards. "They'll take him apart," Gina said. "Learn how he works. Copy the technology." Han grabbed Gina's arm. "You have to stop them." Security guards burst into the room, weapons drawn. "Step away from Miss Kim," one ordered. Gina raised a hand. "Stand down. He's not a threat." She turned to Han. "Why should I help you? You stole Kim property." "I didn't steal him. He found me." Han's voice was desperate. "If Dole is built with my neural patterns, he's as much mine as yours." Gina studied Han's face. Then she made a decision. "Get my pilot's suit," she told a guard, "and prepare my chimera." The guard looked confused. "Miss Kim, your father hasn't authorized." "I'm authorizing it," Gina snapped. "That prototype has Kim technology. I won't let Taeyang steal it." She turned to Han. "If you want to save your Dole, you'll have to help me." 20 minutes later, Han stood in a massive hangar, staring up at Gina's chimera mech. Up close, it was even more impressive. 7 meters tall, gleaming silver with blue lights pulsing along its frame. Gina emerged wearing her white pilot suit. The suit hugged her body, with connection points that would link to the mech systems. "Have you ever ridden in a mech?" she asked. Han shook his head. "There's a secondary position behind the pilot's seat," she explained. "It's for engineers during testing. You'll ride there." "What's the plan?" Han asked. "Taeyang is taking the prototype to their research facility," Gina said. "We intercept them before they get there." A technician approached. "Miss Kim, your father is calling. He's demanding to know why your chimera is being prepared." "Tell him it's a training exercise," Gina said coldly. The technician looked doubtful, but nodded. Gina turned to Han. "Let's go." Han followed her up a ladder to the mech's cockpit. Inside was smaller than he expected. The pilot's seat was surrounded by controls and screens. Behind it was a smaller seat with fewer controls. Gina sat in the pilot's seat and began flipping switches. The cockpit closed around them. Screens lit up, showing views from outside. "Hold on," Gina said. The chimera hummed to life. Han felt vibrations through his seat as the massive machine stood up. A large door opened in the hangar wall, revealing the city below. Without warning, the chimera leaped out. Han's stomach lurched as they fell. Then jets fired, and they were flying between buildings. "The transport will take this route," Gina said, pointing to a map on screen. "We'll cut them off here." The chimera moved with incredible grace. Gina's hands danced over the controls, guiding the massive machine like it was part of her body. "How did you become a pilot?" Han asked. Gina didn't look away from her controls. "I didn't become one. I was made to be one. Engineered from birth." "What do you mean?" "My DNA was selected. My education designed for one purpose, to pilot better than anyone." Her voice was flat. "My father wanted the perfect pilot for his perfect machine." Han understood then. They were more alike than he had thought. Both tools for Chairman Kim's ambitions. "We're approaching the intercept point," Gina said. The Chimera landed on a wide transport road. In the distance, a convoy of vehicles approached. The lead vehicle was a heavy transport, the kind used for moving valuable cargo. "There they are," Gina said. She pressed a button. The Chimera's voice amplifier activated. "Taiyang Transport, this is Gina Kim. You are carrying stolen property. Stop immediately." The transport didn't slow down. Instead, the convoy vehicles spread out. Panels opened on their sides, revealing weapons. "They're not stopping," Han said. "I didn't expect them to," Gina replied. The Chimera crouched, its metal muscles tensing. "This is why we bring the big guns." The Chimera's arms transformed, weapons extending from hidden compartments. Han had seen Gina fight in the arena, but this was real combat, not a show. "Get Dole out of the transport," Gina told Han. "I'll handle their security." The first shots from the convoy hit the Chimera's armor, leaving scorch marks but no damage. Gina smiled, a predator's smile. "Let's show them why I'm undefeated," she said. The Chimera leaped forward with frightening speed, and the real battle began. The Chimera moved like water, flowing between enemy shots. Gina's hands were steady on the controls, her face calm, as if this was just another arena match. But this time, real lives were at stake. Two smaller Taiyang mechs jumped from the back of the convoy. They were bulky and less graceful than Gina's Chimera, but heavily armed. "Hold on," Gina said to Han. She pushed forward on the controls. The Chimera leaped, spinning in the air to avoid fire from the enemy mechs. It landed behind one and slashed with its metal claws. Sparks flew as armor tore open. Han gripped his seat as the cockpit shook. On the screens, he saw the transport carrying Dole speeding away. "They're getting away," he shouted. "I see them," Gina replied. Her Chimera knocked down one enemy mech and jumped over the second. The Chimera ran after the transport, faster than any machine its size should move. It caught up quickly and leaped onto the transport's roof. "Get ready," Gina told Han. "I'll cut open the roof. You need to get inside and find Dole." She flipped a switch, and a panel opened beside Han's seat. "Take this." It was a small neural connector, like a headband. "If you find Dole, put this on. It will let you connect to our comms." Han nodded and took the device. Gina made the Chimera dig its claws into the transport's roof. Metal screamed as it tore open. "Go," Gina said. Han climbed out of his seat and up through the Chimera's opening hatch. Wind roared around him as he stood on the back of the giant mech. Below, the torn roof of the transport revealed a dark space inside. Han jumped down into the transport. He landed hard on a metal floor. It was dark inside, lit only by red emergency lights. Han looked around and saw crates and equipment strapped to the walls. In the center of the transport, secured by metal clamps, was Dole. The combat unit was powered down, its blue eyes dark. "Dole." Han ran to his friend. He searched for a way to release the clamps. Suddenly, the transport swerved hard. Han was thrown against a wall. Above, he heard the sounds of battle. As Gina fought off more Taiyang forces, Han pulled himself up and returned to Dole. He found the release switches for the clamps and freed the combat unit. "Wake up, buddy," Han said, touching Dole's head. "It's me." Slowly, Dole's eyes lit up. The combat unit made a soft chirping sound when it saw Han. "We need to get out of here," Han said. He put on the neural connector Gina had given him. Immediately, he heard her voice in his head. Han. Status. Her voice was tense. I found him. Dol is awake. Good. We have a problem. My father knows what I'm doing. He's sending forces to stop us, and he's using the emergency override on my CHIMERA. Han felt a chill. What does that mean? It means soon I won't be in control. Jenna's voice was tight with fear. My father can take over my mech remotely. The transport suddenly stopped. Han was thrown forward. Dol caught him, keeping him from hitting the floor. They're trying to lock us in, Gina said. I'm losing control of my limbs. Han, listen to me. Dol has the same neural interface technology as my CHIMERA. He might be able to block the override signal. How? Han asked. Connect him to my systems. There's an access port on the back of my pilot's seat. Hurry. Han looked at Dol. Can you do that? Help Gina. Dol's blue eyes flickered. The combat unit nodded, a human gesture it had learned from Han. The transport's rear doors were forced open. Taiyang soldiers in heavy armor entered, weapons raised. There it is. Get the prototype, one shouted. Dol moved with blinding speed. Weapons that Han didn't know existed emerged from the combat unit's body. Bullets pinged off Dol's armor as it charged the soldiers, knocking them back. This way, Han shouted. He climbed back up through the hole in the roof. The CHIMERA was still there, but its movements were jerky, fighting against itself. Inside the cockpit, Gina was struggling with the controls. Her face was twisted in pain. The override, she gasped. My father is making me fight you. I can't stop it. The CHIMERA's arm raised, its weapons pointing at Han and Dol. Dol now, Han yelled. Dol jumped forward, connecting to the port behind Gina's seat. Blue light spread from the connection point, filling the cockpit. And suddenly, Han could feel them both. Gina's determined mind and Dol's strange consciousness, all connected through the neural link. 3 minds joined as one. In the neural connection, Han saw Gina's memories, a childhood without play, endless training, her father's cold approval when she won and colder disappointment when she failed. He felt her loneliness, so similar to his own. Gina saw Han's life, hunger and struggle, but also friendship and small joys, the freedom to choose his path, even in the darkness of the Undercity. And both of them felt Dol, new to the world but learning fast, afraid but brave. A mind born from Han's patterns, but growing into something unique. We need to break my father's override, Gina said within their shared mind space. Together, Han focused on the foreign signal trying to control the CHIMERA. It felt like a cold hand reaching into their connection. Together, their 3 minds pushed back against it. The CHIMERA shuddered, then stood straight. Gina moved her hands over the controls, and the mech responded perfectly. We did it, Han said. Not for long, Gina warned. My father will try again. We need to get to safety. The CHIMERA leaped from the transport roof, landing on the road below. More Taiyang forces were approaching from one direction. From the other, Kim conglomerate security vehicles were closing in. We're trapped, Han said. Gina's face was set with determination. No, we're going to the arena. The arena? Why? My father cares about his reputation more than anything, Gina explained. If we go public with what he's done, the illegal experiments on children, the neural technology, he'll lose everything. The CHIMERA changed direction, running toward the massive arena that dominated the city skyline. Through their connection, Han felt Gina's plan forming. The arena's broadcasting system reaches everyone in the city, she said, both Undercity and Upper City. We can tell them all the truth. They raced through the city streets, avoiding security forces. The arena grew larger ahead of them. It was empty today, no matches scheduled. The CHIMERA smashed through a service entrance. Inside, the huge space was dark, except for maintenance lights. The battle platform stood in the center, where mechs usually fought for the entertainment of the crowds. "Get to the control booth," Gina told Han as she opened the cockpit. "You can broadcast from there." Han hesitated. "What about you?" "I'll hold them off," Gina said. "They'll try to stop the broadcast." As if to prove her point, alarms began to sound throughout the arena. Security systems had detected their presence. Han climbed out of the CHIMERA with Dole following. They ran toward the control booth, while Gina moved her mech into a defensive position. The first security forces arrived. Kim conglomerate's elite guards in their smaller battle suits. Gina's CHIMERA moved to intercept them. Han and Dole reached the control booth. Through the windows, Han could see Gina fighting below. One against many, but holding her own with skill born from years of training. Han found the broadcast controls and switched them on. His face appeared on the huge screens around the arena. "People of the city," he began. "My name is Han Lee. I'm from the Undercity. What I'm about to tell you." A massive explosion shook the arena. Part of the roof collapsed. "Self-destruct sequence initiated," an automated voice announced. "Arena will be destroyed in 5 minutes." Han's blood went cold. Chairman Kim was willing to destroy the entire arena rather than let the truth get out. Through their neural connection, Han felt Gina's determination turn to fear. Not fear for herself, but for him and Dole. "Han, the emergency exits are sealed." Gina's voice came through their link. "The only way out is through the main doors, but the mechanism is damaged. Someone needs to hold them open manually." Han looked at the main doors, massive steel barriers designed to contain mech battles. They were partly open but closing slowly as the power systems failed. "I'll do it," Han said, starting to move. "No," Gina's voice was firm. "My CHIMERA is the only thing strong enough to hold those doors." Han understood what she meant, "but you'll be trapped inside when it explodes." Gina's CHIMERA was already moving to the doors, grabbing the edges with its powerful arms. "Go," she said simply. "Take Dole and go." "Gina." "No." But Han could feel her resolve through their connection. It was unbreakable. "I was never free," Gina said softly. "But you too can be." The CHIMERA braced itself against the doors, holding them open. Its systems strained, metal groaning under the pressure. 4 minutes to self-destruct. The automated voice continued. Han stood frozen, watching Gina's CHIMERA hold the massive doors. "Go," Gina shouted through their connection. "There's no time." Dole nudged Han, pushing him toward the exit. Han finally moved, running with Dole toward the opening. But as they reached it, he stopped and turned back. "No," Han said firmly. "I won't leave you." Through their connection, he felt Gina's confusion, then anger. "Don't be stupid. You'll die." "So will you," Han replied. "And we just found each other." A new idea formed in Han's mind. He turned to Dole. "Can you transfer Gina's consciousness, like you transferred your connection to the CHIMERA?" Dole's blue eyes flickered. The combat unit seemed to understand. It moved back toward the CHIMERA, dodging falling debris as the arena continued to collapse around them. 3 minutes to self-destruct, the automated voice announced. "What are you doing?" Gina asked, her voice strained as she fought to keep the doors open. "Saving you," Han said. "Not your body, but you." Dole reached the CHIMERA and connected to it again. The blue light of their neural link glowed brighter. Han felt Gina's presence in their shared mental space, her confusion, her fear, but also a tiny spark of hope. "Let go," Han told her. "Let your consciousness flow through the connection." Into Dole. "That's impossible," Gina said. "I can't leave my body." "Your father used my brain patterns to create Dole's mind," Han explained. "If that worked, this can work too. Trust me." Gina hesitated. Then Han felt her decision. She let go. The neural connection blazed like fire in Han's mind. Gina's consciousness flowed through it, away from her body, through the link that connected them all. Dole received her, making space in its systems. In the physical world, Jinna's body slumped in the pilot's seat, but the Chimera kept holding the doors. Its systems were locked in place, running on automatic. 2 minutes to self-destruct. It worked. Han felt Jinna's presence now within Dole. The combat unit's eyes glowed, one blue as before, one new one glowing white. Jinna's color. I'm here, Jinna's voice came from Dole. I can feel everything. It's strange, but I'm free. A massive crash shook the arena as another section of roof collapsed. The Chimera groaned under the weight of the doors, its metal frame beginning to bend. We need to go, Han said. Now. They ran through the opening the Chimera was holding. Just as they cleared it, the machine's arms gave way. The doors slammed shut behind them with a thunderous boom. 1 minute to self-destruct. They ran as fast as they could, putting distance between themselves and the arena. When they reached a safe spot, they turned to look back. The arena, symbol of corporate power and control, exploded in a ball of fire. The sound reached them seconds later, followed by a wave of hot air. Buildings shook. People screamed and pointed. In the days that followed, recordings of the explosion were everywhere. So were the files Jinna had released to the public networks in her final moments in the Chimera. Proof of Chairman Kim's illegal experiments. The neural technology. Everything. The city changed. Chairman Kim was arrested. The barrier between Undercity and Upper City began to come down. Slowly, but it was happening. 3 months later, Han stood on a hill overlooking the city. For the first time in his life, he felt the real wind on his face, saw real clouds in the sky. Beside him stood Dole, changed now. The combat unit had a new body, less weapon and more companion. Its eyes still glowed blue and white. What do you think? Han asked. It's beautiful, Jinna's voice came from Dole. I never really looked at the sky before. Han smiled. Where should we go now? We can go anywhere. Anywhere, Jinna agreed. We're free. As they walked down the hill toward the new city, Han thought about their journey. Jinna had ridden a Chimera of steel, a machine built for destruction. Now she lived within a stray that had once been built to kill. But instead of death, their story had brought new life and freedom. People saw them pass, the man from the Undercity and his strange companion with glowing eyes. Some recognized them from the news. There they go, they whispered. The ones who changed everything. Han just smiled and kept walking. The future was open now, for all of them. Dole, part Han, part Jinna, part its own unique self, walked beside him. Together, they had broken the old world and helped build a new one. In the end, it wasn't about where they came from. It was about what they chose to become. And they had chosen freedom.